19 databases that we provide to our member countries, which includes, for example, fingerprints, firearms, lost lost travel documents, also facial recognition. So these are used heavily every day all around the world. Our headquarters are based in Lyon, France, and we also have Interpol Global Complex for Innovation based in Singapore, where I'm working currently. And we also have 6 regional bureaus as well as special representative offices to some of the key international organizations. So I would like to talk about threats that could occur in the Citiverse. I don't want to be pessimistic, but it's just for us to be aware of potential risks and threats so that we can, be well prepared. So Interpol has created the Interpol Metaverse Expert Group in 2023, and ITU is also contributing to this discussion, so we're very thankful. And within this group, which has about over 200 experts around the world from diverse sectors, we came up with a typology of potential crimes and threats in the metaverse. So I will not go into details, but just to highlight some of the threats that could happen in the Cityverse context as well. So first one is identity crimes. So theft of identity, and also because we will have some biometrics data involved in the Cityverse, so the crime will be much more complex and the impact will be also bigger. Second, vulnerable user exploitation. So this is about our children and minors who will be targeted in this immersive environment, which, includes some harassments, and also they could be part of some sexual exploitation materials. So these are already happening in the cyberspace, but it will be, it could be more harmful if it becomes the threat is more becoming immersive. So this is something that we have to pay attention. Third, financial crimes, same as in the cyberspace, we will have a lot of cyber fraud, but also here, it could, in the Citiverse context, it could include, for example, NFTs and also some virtual properties and assets in terms of the criminal activities or the money laundering. Public safety risks. This is about cyber physical attacks that using the criminals can use the digital twin in order to attack some of the critical infrastructure. So this will harm our public safety in that sense. And then information integrity. This is about, misinformation and disinformation, and this can really harm the public trust in governments and public sector. And also it can also affect the personal safeties as well. So these are some of the threats. And overall, from law enforcement perspective, the challenges that we're foreseeing in this regard in order to, address these threats and crimes. The first challenge we can think of is jurisdictional ambiguity. If there is a crime happened in the Cityverse, which national law will apply? So there's this unclear situation that we need to, discuss and solve. Secondly, interoperability. This is the main theme of this panel. But for example, when we have the interoperable Cityverses, can we make sure that we have a very robust identity management systems? And this will be very important for law enforcement in order to protect the users and also when we try to track the criminal actors. Number three, legal gaps. So this is something that we are facing currently as well. For example, the current law versus, the new developments. How can we, for example, think about the legal personality of the AI-based avatars? Who's responsible for that? But at the same time, some countries are very advanced in that, and some countries are still figuring out. So there's also differences between the countries. So these are the legal gaps we face. Lastly, investigation and forensic readiness. So within law enforcement, are we ready to investigate some of the crimes, that's going to happen in the Citiverse context? And also, are we able to conduct digital forensics? Making sure that the evidence that we get from this environment doesn't alter or disappear, and it is admissible to the court. So these are some of the very key questions for law enforcement. So we talked about AI a little bit, but obviously it's really important. AI in the Cityverse, like any other technologies, AI will be a double-edged sword. It can be a risk multiplier. So as I mentioned, AI can be used by criminals in all sort of activities, and it will just amplify the impact and making it so much easier for them, faster for them. And also the question about legal personality of anything related to AI. So that is the risks that is growing. At the same time, AI is such a great enabler for the governance, the public sector context. They can really boost our systems and also enable better citizen engagements. And also for law enforcement, it can really help our investigations in terms of like detecting, preventing, and also monitoring and so on. Governance imperative. So we are here to build a secure by design Cityverse, and everything that we discussed, I'm very happy that some of our experts are really on top of it. And we should really continue our discussion to make sure that we are building a secure by design Cityverse where responsibilities are clear and also liability and accountability. So that's great. Harm response threshold, this is something that we're proposing, is that if there will be some criminal activities or harms in the metaverse or Cityverse environment, at what point do we need to intervene? Like what point the platform needs to involved, or at what point people needs to report to law enforcement. So we would just like to have like conversation at the global level. What is our common understanding about the threshold so that we can have a better and effective law enforcement response to any kind of harms. And then interoperability across systems, as I mentioned before, I think the identity management is crucial. So we have to make sure that that is enabled technically and then really in terms of verifying and also managing the identities. So that would be crucial. And then for data sharing, I think it has to be very smooth and easy, and also for us to capture that evidence. So we would need to work very closely with all the sectors, like private sector companies and also academia, NGOs, so that we are harmonized in that sense. And law enforcement response, yes, like this is all related, but we should be able to increase our capacity to be able to operate in this environment. So this is my last slide. So key considerations for, having secure by design Cityverse. All aspects are important. Policy, legal, technical, operational, and safety. Policy and legal, it's more for governments and international organizations to lead. And this is exactly one of the examples that we are having now at the Cityverse Assembly, that we're trying to come up with a good standard for the Cityverse. So this will influence the laws and policies at the national level. So this is great. We should keep it going. Technical level. So this is also interoperability. We have to be making sure that the gateways are safe, and also identity management systems are safe and efficient. Operationally, so this is more for law enforcement, that we have to be able to operate and provide effective response to protect our citizens in the Cityverse context. And lastly, safety. It's really important for the individuals, the users, and citizens. So they should be aware of the potential harms and threats. And they have to ensure that digital hygiene, just like they do for the cyberspace. So we have to make sure that there's awareness and education about the safety in the Cityverse. So that's the end of my presentation.